Hi, welcome to my channel. Thanks for stopping by. Today I'm going to be participating in a useful DIY challenge. And for this challenge, I'm going to show you how to make a gift box from start to finish. Now the host of this challenge is MomDas Handmade and the co-host is BlondieNextDoor. And I'm going to go ahead and list both their channels down below in the description box along with a playlist so you can see what everybody is doing. The one rule is you must use cardboard for this challenge. Now let's get started and I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. I am just going to use a box cutter and some boxes that I have laying around out in my garage. And I cut 4 strips that are 3 1/4 inches by 19 1/2 inches. And then I cut 2 strips, or 2 rectangles actually, that are 11 1/2 inches by 7 inches. And it looks just like that. Now, once those are all done, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hot glue 2 of the strips together, 2 of the longer strips, because the boxes just weren't that steady from the Amazon boxes that I had, and that's going to make those long strips really sturdy. Now this is the material that I had here on hand, and so I'm going to cut out everything that I need out of this material. I'm going to cut 2 12-inch by 7 1/2 inch rectangles, and then I'm going to cut 2 longer ones that are 14 inches by 8 inches. And on the longer ones, you can see that I even left the selvage on them. It doesn't matter because it's not going to be seen. Now right here, I'll show you, these are my 2 long ones along with my 2 short ones. Just like that. And now I'm going to set these off to the side, and I'm going to show you I also need to cut 2 strips that are 8 1/2 inches by 25 inches. And once I have those cut, I'm going to take, and going from the shorter end, which is 8 inches, and I'm going to fold that in half, and then I'm going to sew a 1/4 inch seam right down that. And you can see I did that right here. And now all I'm going to do is turn this inside out. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of work my thumbs right down it, almost like as if I was getting ready to put on a pair of pantyhose. And I'm just going to work my thumbs all the way to the very end and then push that up through the center and then just pull it through the center portion, just to flip that inside out. And now we have this tube of our material, and it's just like a little pocket. Now you can see I wasn't even concerned about making sure I matched up my pattern because it's not going to show. And I did that with both of these that I needed to cut out and sew, these 2 that were 8 1/2 by 25 inches long. And now once that's done, I'm going to set those aside, and I'm going to take a little bit of quilting batting, and I'm going to lay one of our rectangle right on top of our quilting batting, and I'm just going to go ahead and cut right around this. And I'm going to leave an extra about 1/8 of an inch all the way around, just because I'd rather my batting hang over just a hair longer than what our rectangle is, than to have it too short. And we are just going to go ahead and cut that right out, just like that. Now once that's done, this next step I'm going to show you, I did it, but I would not recommend doing it. This was something that I thought was going to be a good idea. I used this tacky glue and I put a little bit in each corner and a dab in the center. 1, I found it wasn't needed. And 2, I felt this glue through the top once I was all done, and I regretted doing that. So just skip the part of putting the tacky glue on. Don't use tacky glue on this project whatsoever because it just didn't turn out well. Now I'm going to take one of our longer pieces of fabric here, and I'm just going to take our rectangle with our batting on it, and I'm going to square that up right in the middle of our rectangle. Good, just making sure I have enough material on all sides to pull it up, and I'm going to go ahead and hot glue that down. I'm going to put a small bead right along this bottom edge here, and now I'm just going to fold up this bottom edge of the material and smoothing out that hot glue because I don't want any thick lumps in it. So I'm just smoothing that real good right there. Now at the other end, I'm just kind of gently pushing our rectangle all the way up. I don't want to stretch it really tight on our material, but I don't want our material to be loose on the top of this either. So just pulling it nice and firm without pulling it tight. And again, just smoothing out that hot glue. Just like that. And now we're just going to go ahead and do the longer sides. Now you can see one side is already done here, and the reason for that is I decided to go back to the tacky glue, and that's why I just got done telling you don't use a tacky glue on this project. I found that the tacky glue was just really messy, it didn't dry quick enough, and you're just better off just sticking with the hot glue. So you can learn from my mistake. Now again, just making sure that everything is glued down nice and secure and nice and flat. And just make sure you press down wherever you put that hot glue so that you don't have any big lumps from your hot glue. Doing this in small little strips is best than trying to do one long piece because your hot glue does dry pretty quickly. And so just doing some small little pieces at a time is the best way to do it. And you're just pulling that material up and just adhering it to the back of our rectangle box here. And we're almost done with this side. We're just going to go ahead and finish that corner off. And again, we're just going to snugly pull that up and getting a little bit underneath there so that it holds. And this is just kind of like even when you're upholstering and you're doing a corner on a stool or something, you're just kind of getting it going in the same way and same direction. Just make sure it's nice and hot glued down. And now once it's all nice and snug, that is going to be the top of our gift box here. And having that batting in there just gives it that little extra cushion and just makes it feel a little bit more expensive than if it were to just feel like just a hard or plain box. Now what we're doing is we're taking one of our smaller pieces and I'm just putting a little notch in each corner, just like what you see here. And that is so that when we hot glue each side, then our corners won't get all bunchy, but can lay flat. Now we're going to start right here at the shorter end, and I'm just going to lay a real thin bead of glue right across the corner, or right across the bottom, and folding that material up about 1/4 inch and then just smoothing it flat. And then we're going to go to the other end and we're going to do the exact same thing. This makes such a pretty gift for someone. There's so many things that you can do with it, and I'm going to show you a few of those when we get to the end of this video. Now you can see here how we have this little bit left over in the corner. We're just going to go ahead and cut that off. And now we're going to go and do our long sides. Now I did this long side all at once. It's actually easier if you just do it in very small portions, so I would recommend just doing it in 1 to 2 inch sections rather than trying to do this great big long length like what I had done here, because then you're racing against the clock to try and hurry up and get everything folded over before that hot glue cools. And now we're just finishing up this other side here and taking it right to the corner. And now the corners are so much easier to do because of those little notches that we made in them. And we're finished up with that now. Now we can just take and set this off to the side. And next what we're going to do is we're going to take a little bit of just a little lace trim, and we're going to use this and put this right around the outside edge of our box here. Now we're going to start halfway through the middle of what will be the back side of our box, and we're going to just go ahead and glue that lace all the way along the edge. And we're just pulling it tight so it lays nice and flat. Now, when you get to the corners, you want to go ahead and put just a little tiny nick in your lace right at the bottom of your lace where you can see that there's a seam there. Just like that. And you can see the seam right there. You just want to cut that. That way you can actually do a 90-degree turn with your lace and your lace won't bunch up. Now, if you were to not do that and you were going to take and turn your lace right around your corners, one of two things is going to happen. Either your lace is going to end up curling up or it's going to end up curling down. And your lace just isn't going to look right or lay right when you're going around those corners. So make sure you put that little notch in there and then just turn that corner at a 90-degree angle and keep on hot gluing your lace right down as you're going. And you're going to find that your lace will lay perfectly flat this way. And now here we are at our next corner, and again I'm just putting a little tiny notch. All I'm doing is just getting through that seam part at the bottom of our lace there, putting a little dab of glue right there, making that 90-degree turn and gluing that down right there on the corner. And now we can finish just gluing the rest of that lace down all the way down the sides here. And you can see I'm just doing 1-2 inch sections all the way down. Now when you're doing this, make sure that your lace doesn't get twisted. My lace kept wanting to twist on me, so you don't want to accidentally hot glue your lace down with it twisted. So just be careful when you're doing that if you decide to make one of these boxes. And again, we're just going to make a little notch in this corner. Now this is actually a really pretty quick and easy gift to make and a box to make. You can see here, I'm showing you one more time, just a real close up, how we notched right through that bottom seam and how we're just going to go ahead and make a complete 90-degree turn with that lace so that it will end up laying nice and flat. There are just so many things that you can do with these boxes. There's so many different colors and patterns and material that you can use to make these. These are just really fun, and it's nice to be able to control what size that you want to make. From really big to really small, it's completely up to you. Now I'm giving you all the dimensions for everything that I made with this box, but like I said, you can choose what size box you would like to make yourself. And I'm using this really pretty navy blue lace that I've had forever. I could have used some white lace that I had as well, but I just decided to go ahead and use this blue. I thought it was really pretty, and I'm seeing so many people use blue and white right now that I just thought this would be a really fun combination to go ahead and use right now. Now my lace and my material I've had for quite a while. I've had them in my stash, boy, for years and years. I'm not even positive where I purchased them. They've been in my stash for so long. So I'm happy to be using up part of that stash. You know, when we're going through all this quarantine stuff and lockdown, stay at home stuff, whatever you want to call it, it's nice to have a little bit of stash and things built up so when we need something, we can use it. And it's kind of getting us to think outside the box and use up some of that stuff that we've just been putting off for a while. Now, when you get done here, what you need to do is go about 1/4 of an inch or so over the top of your other lace with your glue, and then glue your lace right on top of your other lace so they're overlapping. That way, nobody will really be able to notice or tell that that is where the two come together, just because they're overlapping that touch. Now we're going to go back here, and the piece that we just got done doing, our smaller piece, we are going to attach that to the underside of our box here and right on top of our lace that we just got done putting on. And what I'm doing is I'm putting a little bit of glue right along the seam of our lace, just like that. And now I'm working from both sides here so that I'm not doing just one side and making sure that I pull all the material so it fits on that side and then I don't have enough on the other side. It's just a good idea, if you can, to work on both sides, a little bit on one side, a little bit on the other, just to make sure that you have everything evenly centered and lined up all the way around. And you can see that this is actually a pretty quick and easy project. It looks much more difficult than what it is, and it's so pretty. Now, this is something that any female in your life would absolutely love receiving from you. My daughter's already called dibs on this one herself. Your mom will love this. A grandmother would love this. This is even great if you just have a friend that you want to give something to and you don't want to just put it in a bag or something. This is a great alternative and something that they can just keep and cherish. Now here I'm doing a little bit of both sides at once because this is a little bit easier. I'm just pulling it down so I can kind of quickly adhere it to both sides at the same time. Now you want to make sure that you're keeping your center portion nice and flat. You don't want any wrinkles or anything in it. And you can use any variety of material to do this. It doesn't have to be any particular type of material. You can do, as long as it hides everything underneath, you can use almost any kind of material. What I'm using here is just like a polyester blend. Now you can see I have a little bit too much material here. I'm not quite sure why this one was a little bit long, so all I did was take and fold that under one more time at that end. I just folded that, and now I'm just gluing the part that I just folded. Let me kind of zoom in here a little bit. Maybe I can show you that a little bit closer here. I just folded that over one more time at this end, and I'm going to glue that down. Nobody's even going to know that I have an extra little fold on this end than what I have on the other end. And there is the inside of our box, and there's the top of our box. And so far, I think it's looking beautiful. And now we're going to set this aside, and we're going to start making the bottom portion of our box. Now for the bottom portion, we're going to start with our next longest piece of material. We're going to start with our next long piece of material. And again, we're going to center our rectangle right up in the center of it. Now this time we don't need any batting on it, because we don't need any of that batting on the part that is actually going to be sitting down on a counter or table or wherever it's put. So we're going to do the exact same thing that we did on the top portion of our box, minus the batting. We're just going to go ahead and lay our bead of glue right along the bottom here. And you can see that this box was just an old computer box, so this is pretty firm. So I could just use one layer of this type of box. Now, if you have a box that is really thin or just wants to bend and can't handle very much weight, go ahead and double those boxes, like what I did for our sides. If I would have had enough of this computer box to make the sides, I wouldn't have needed to go ahead and cut the extra pieces for our sides and glue them together. But because those were just Amazon boxes and they were kind of thin and flimsy, that's why I went ahead and glued two pieces together to make our sides. Now here, all we're doing is the exact same thing that we did for the inner portion of our top. And again, we're going to do the exact same thing even with our lace. We're going to go ahead and outline it, making sure that we go ahead and put our little notches when we get to our corners. Everything is the exact same as what we did on the top. The only difference is we're not using the batting. So I'm not going to show you every little single step like what I did when we are making our top part, because I know you already have that. So we're just going around our corners here, just like what we did before. Now we're going ahead and attaching the inner part. This will actually be the bottom inside of the box that we did right here. And everything is done. This is the bottom portion of our box. That's the outside bottom. And now we're going to work on our sides. Now here you can see that these two pieces are hot glued together to give them a little bit more stability. And you can see where that crease was. If you have to use pieces that have creases in it like this does, make sure you put your creases at different ends so that the crease isn't the same on both sides. Now I'm just marking a little mark with our pencil right at the length of the side where we need it. Now what we're going to do to make that bend, I'm just going to hold it with our scissors, and I'm going to lay the scissor right there on it, making our scissors nice and straight. And now I'm just going to real gently work that box, bending that up to make the bend in it. Now I'm not working it back and forth. I want it to kind of stay kind of taut So I'm just bending it just what I need to. And now you can see it's the perfect length. And now I need to make another bend for the short end of our box. So I'm matching it up on all the sides to see exactly where it needs to be. And I'm going to go ahead and mark right on the bottom, right where it comes and meets the bottom of the inside portion of our box. And again, I'm just going to lay my scissors right here, making sure they're nice and straight. And I'm going to gently bend that box so that it will make the fold for our walls of our box. Just like that. And now again, I'm going to try it out and make sure it's fitting good. And you can see it's going right from the full length of the inside portion of our box, right where the material is, to the full width all the way to the full width of the other side of the box. Now, once it's fitting really good and I'm happy with it, then what we're going to do is we need to attach our other piece of cardboard that we had glued together. We need to attach that to this so that we can finish making the walls of our box. So I'm going to get out some box tape here, and just going halfway on our box tape, I'm going to go ahead and lay this box that's going to be the side of our box on our box tape, just like that. And now I'm just going to go ahead and add in the other piece of our box to this piece of our box, our other wall portion, and I'm going to go ahead and lay that down and pull our tape nice and tight, just like that. And I'm going to take that tape and I'm going to go around where these two join together a couple times. I just want to make sure that these are held together nice and tight with this box tape. And that should be perfect, just like that. Now I'm going to just go and cut this box tape off, and we won't need any more of that right there. Now, some of the places where you may see tape on the sides of our box, that's just leftover tape from when it was shipped to us. The only place that I've used tape up to this point is just where you just saw where I taped the two different lengths of our sides together. And now right here, holding these, we want to make sure it's making a nice square, and I'm just going to mark right here, right where the end of the inside of our box comes to. And once again, I'm going to use our scissors, laying them on there, making sure it's nice and straight. And we are going to bend this again, making our crease. And now you can see how our box just fits all the way around the base of our gift box here. And all that is looking really good. Now all I need to do is, while holding this, I need to take my pencil and mark right where this comes together now, so that I know where I need to cut this off. And then I'm just using my regular shears here. Now don't use your same scissors that you use for cutting your material, because cutting paper, cutting boxes, anything like that will make your scissors dull. So I always keep one set of scissors just for material, and then I have a few other sets that I use for crafting. Now we can set our walls of our box right on top of our gift box base here, and see that fits perfectly. And we're just going to go ahead and put the sides of our box right down in to the tube that we made here, pulling it all the way down. And this is actually pretty easy to do. It's not a big struggle. Now, once you get one on, it should fit the whole length of your box or the side of your box here. Now, once you get that first one on, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to start kind of scrunching it all up, bringing it all the way down to one side, just kind of putting pleats in it, just like what you see me doing here. Now, you're not scrunching it really, really tight. You're just kind of pulling it down a little so that you're putting some pleats in it. And now once you have that all the way done, and it's about half the length, then you're going to go ahead and add the other one on, just like what we're doing here. And now we're going to just keep pulling this one on, and we're going to be scrunching this one right as we go. And this is just going to make the sides of our box look really pretty. And now where these come together, make sure that you go ahead and just tuck that second one right down inside of the first one, just like what you're seeing I'm doing here. And that way nobody will even notice where it is that the two different pieces come together. And now all we need to do is put our two sides together, and we're going to use a little more tape, but before we go ahead and put that tape on, we're going to grab our hot glue and we're going to run a bead of hot glue right down that seam on the inside, and we just need to hold that. Let that cool before you let it go, and then do the same thing on that seam on the outside as well. We just want to make sure that those are held real tight together. We don't want that coming apart whatsoever once we have it all made into our box. Now that would probably be good enough like that, but just to make sure that it stays completely secure, now I'm going to go ahead and tape that corner together. And I'm just using our box tape just like before. Now once I have that all nice and good and taped together and it's hot glued together, now I'm going to go ahead and just pull that material right over, tucking that material inside of each other just like before. Now you can't even tell which corner it was. And now we're going to go ahead and put a bead of glue all the way around the bottom edge of our bottom piece here, and this is the inside portion of our bottom piece. And we're just putting that glue all the way around. Now you need to work a little quick here so that our glue doesn't dry. And now we're going to go ahead and put our sidewalls right on top of that and just kind of firmly hold that down until it's nice and secure. Now look how great that looks. Now we have the sides of our box all put together. The bottom of the box is all put together. All we have to do is add our top on. We are almost done making our gift box here. Now to attach our top, what we're going to do is just use a little needle and thread, and I'm just putting a little knot here at the end of our thread. And now what we're going to do is line our lid up with the side of our box so they're nice and straight together. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to sew and attach right here the side wall to this little bottom portion of the lid. And I'm going to do that on this end, on the other end, and then I'm going to do it right in the middle as well, just to make it nice and secure. And it's just easier if you go from the bottom part and go up. So there's a little tip to make it a little easier. And now here you can see it's all attached. Our lace is all together. You can't see where our sides came together, where it was glued or taped, or where we tucked one portion into the other portion. Here's our lid. Here's the inside of our box. Our box looks beautiful. You could use any fabric, any color that you'd like, whatever fits your decor or the person's decor who you're giving it to, and it's just going to look beautiful. Now you can use this as a home decor piece. You could use this to give a gift for someone. Now here you can see, if I just open the lid, I went ahead and put some tissue paper in there, put a couple flowers, and added a couple different bottles of lotions and bath oils, and they just fit perfect in there. All of these things are from Bath and Body Works, and you can see it just looks beautiful in here. This would make a lovely gift for someone. A mother, a grandmother, a friend, a coworker. This is just absolutely beautiful. Now when they're done with that, they could put in a tissue box, and you can see how well a tissue box fits in there. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you've learned something new today. If you did enjoy this video, I'd really appreciate it if you give me a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit the bell so you'll be notified the next time I upload a video. Thanks so much for watching.